Sending children to study abroad could be the dream of your child. And as a parent, it's your bounden duty to fulfill that responsibility. Now, sometimes some of this can be very daunting. The prospect of an overseas education costing crores rupees can look very large. Should it be so difficult? The answer is no. It's actually not so difficult. It's quite an easy process to plan for your child's overseas education. How much money do you need to set aside month on month? How much is the corpus that one needs to create? How to go about all this task? So confusing. That's exactly what we're going to cover. By the time you see this video and are through, you'll have a fairly good idea about how much to do, what to do, how to do, and where to do. All these answers, especially relating to your child's long-term education, will be rather clear for you at the end of this video. So stay tuned and be at the video. Now, the killer education plan comes up with a variety of different steps. And we're going to talk about what is the killer plan that one needs to have if you want to have a good education corpus for your child to go abroad at some point in the future. First up, start with the end in mind. What is the end goal? The end goal is maybe send my son or daughter to Europe or USA for their masters or their undergraduate program. Now, any of these places are expensive because there is a currency conversion involved. So you'll have to judge a certain amount. And I would say be conservative and judge a higher amount than be conservative and judge a lower amount, because you don't want to go at the age of 18 or 20 and discover that you're very, very short of money. So therefore, be prudent and consider an amount. And every country differs. So overseas education in the US is very different from an overseas education in Singapore. It's very different from an overseas education in Australia. So that's important for us to take an overall estimate. Smart investment means that you start reasonably early. So typically educational expenses of this nature start from the age of about 17, 18 onwards of the child. Which means if it's a newly born child, then you have your 15 years plus to plan, which is reasonably sufficient for you. If you have spent the first 10 years and now you're thinking about this, then you still have about 8 to 10 years to go. If your child is already in the 10th standard, then you probably have only 4 years to go. The reason these three scenarios is because the investment needed in each of these scenarios is very different. For a 15-year, you can afford to take longer risk, bigger bets. You can invest in equity markets, you can invest in small caps, for instance, which may be very volatile in the short term but deliver a much bigger return in the long term. But if you had only 4 years to go, then you must be a little bit more cautious. You can't take all the risks that you may have wanted to do. You will have to take lesser risks because you want the corpus at the end of 4 years. So which is why starting early always helps, and being smart about your strategy is very, very important. Third, since overseas investments are done in a forex currency, may not be a bad idea to do some of your investment in foreign currency. Say for instance, if today you were to go back 10 years and start an investment for sending your child abroad, say into US now, and if you had started 10 years ago, US dollar 10 years ago was about 50 rupees to a dollar. Today it's 90 plus. So you would have also gained from buying dollars cheaper if some of your investments were in dollars and not all your money was in rupees. So think about it, maybe 20%, 25%, depending on your comfort, can be in overseas dollar denominated currency to help you benefit from dollar appreciation that happens year on year. You must also look at the funding mix. How much of money are you willing to put aside? Do you have to spare? How much of money you may want to take a loan at a future point in time? Or how much of the amount is something that you are going to look out for scholarships? Some of these overseas universities also allow. So take a fairly prudent call on these. Don't be over the board, but take a prudent call. Next, how do you do these investments? Ideally, I would say month on month, an SIP kind of a product is best suited for you to create long-term wealth. But you can also use some of the lump sums that you may receive from your bonus or any other means to also augment the capital. Follow a goal-based approach, use an annual rebalancing strategy, and also create some of the backup plans that will help you if some of these go south. So if you followed these 5 routes of investing, I think by and large you will have an investment plan in place for your child to go abroad and have a brighter future into their own. Now, before we go, I have a special surprise for you. We have actually done a simulation of calculation. If somebody's child were to go abroad, what would it cost and how would it pan out is what we have looked at. We have looked at 2 scenarios, like I mentioned. If the parent is far-sighted and does this planning when the child is newly born, or in the second case, if the child is 10 years of age and the need is about 18 years, so they still have a 8-year timeline. So in both cases, we have assumed that the money is needed when the child is 18 years of age. We have considered the corpus required to be 1 crore rupees. This is just an example, like I said, but it's a good start. And in the first case, the father or the mother has 18 years to create that 1 crore corpus. Of course, 1 crore is today's value, so we also have assumed a 6% inflation. Incidentally, education is one of the highest inflation areas for people to look out for. So university education, university costs have been going up at a much faster rate than the normal inflation. So we have taken a 6% inflation in this case. So if a newly born child, parent decides that they want to provide 1 crore of corpus in today's value, then by the time the child is actually 18, that number that is needed will be about 2.85 crores, almost 3 crores in value, 3 times the value of what it is today. But since the parent starts early, I think it's a task that can be easily done. For 2.85 crores or close to 3 crores of value, the parent needs to set aside hardly 37,000 rupees per month in terms of achieving that corpus over the 18-year period. They can either do this, or if they have a lump sum of 35 lakhs or 37 lakhs, that lump sum can also get them to reach that point if it's fully invested. Now, in the case that the child is already 10 years old, then the time period remaining is only 8 years. Therefore, it's a lot more struggle to make that happen. The 1 crore of now, 8 years down, will be 1.59 crores. So it has also gone up. Now, therefore, the parent needs to put aside about 1 lakh of rupees every month if they want to make sure that the corpus gets built for the child. If the parent does not want to do monthly but rather has some lump sum, that number will be about 65 lakhs of rupees that they need to put aside as a lump sum. Now, friends, these are mere calculations. I've just taken an example, but what you can see is that if you start early, the amount that you need to put aside is much smaller, and if done consistently, this goal is easily achievable. It's not rocket science, it's not very difficult, it's not out of the world. Now, I want to take a few minutes to focus on how you can avoid some of the mistakes that you've seen some of the parents do when they plan these investments for children. Like I said, the first mistake is waiting to start too late. We often come across people who come when their children are already in their 11th standard saying that, hey, I want to plan. The number is very large, it's very difficult. You will have to depend a lot more on loans and interest than on your own investments. So try and see if you can start early. Early bird gets the worm, as they say. It's a better alternative to creating a larger corpus. Second is underestimating costs. When you talk about university education, you're not just talking about tuition fees, you're talking about travel expenses, you're talking about living expenses, hostel expenses, food expenses, clothing. If it's a very, very cold country, very different from India, then you're also talking about clothing and footwear and a host of other things. All these are invisible costs, but somewhere you will need to be smart about taking these costs into account as well. So it's not just the tuition fees, but a whole lot of costs that one needs to be aware of. Third, like I said, education inflation is probably the highest inflation that we have seen. So therefore, please do consider inflation of a certain order. There is no number to it. We have considered 6% in our calculations. You're free to consider 8%, but it's always better to be prepared than not. So that's the whole idea. Consider currency risk. Like I said, 20-30% at least must be planned in a foreign currency. If you can do more, great. At least 20-30% must be done, because eventually you are going to need foreign currency. As per the latest RBI rules of LRS, the liberalized remittance scheme, you can invest up to 250,000 US dollars every year for your child abroad. If you don't have that kind of money, at least a smaller sum, try and see if you can do. There are a variety of investment options that are open currently. There is a gift city concept. There are mutual funds that invest in foreign stocks and foreign currency. So choose what works for you, but make that a smaller portion at least must go into these foreign currency investments. Last but not the least, anything that you want to achieve needs focus. So don't just put money in different places. Have a focused education fund that you are funding, and make sure that goal is razor sharp focused. You review it at least once a year, rebalance that portfolio. If you did these 5 things quite consistently, my belief is that you will be closer to that goal of creating that dream overseas education for your child.